In the reflection, I saw Sophia and Daniel, their hands pressed against the glass, whispering, "Stay with us. You look just like me." I swung a broken chair into the mirror. It didn't shatter, it bled. The house folded in on itself, the halls stretching and twisting in impossible loops.
You are listening to the Fearcast. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
It was supposed to be the perfect Halloween. Just the four of us. Me, Emily Carter, my boyfriend Daniel Reed, our best friend Ryan Matthews, and his wife Sophia Matthews. We planned this weekend for months, an escape from the city, from work, from routines. Just us, two couples, renting a massive Victorian mansion deep in the woods, a place called the house on Cranmore Hill. It was infamous for its haunted stories, strange architecture, and whispered disappearances. For us, it was a Halloween thrill. We didn't want street parties or overhyped clubs. We wanted something intimate, dangerous, secret. But what they didn't know, what I already knew, was that Daniel and Sophia weren't just friends. I'd seen the texts, the late-night calls, the quiet meetings. They thought I was clueless. I wasn't. I wanted to catch them. I wanted to see them fail, to break them where they thought they were safest. What I didn't know was that the house had been waiting for us, for me, to destroy us in ways I could never imagine. When we arrived on Friday night, the house was a towering skeleton wrapped in ivy and shadows, the porch sagging beneath our feet, the windows fogged with age. It looked like it had been waiting to be fed. The air inside clung to us, stale, heavy, as if the walls had been holding their breath. We played along, pretending we weren't already unnerved. That night, we drank too much wine, carved jack-o'-lanterns, and played horror trivia. Sophia's laughter was louder than everyone else's. Her glances at Daniel were too frequent, too careful. I caught her brushing his arm, holding her gaze on his lips when she thought Ryan wasn't watching. Ryan found a dusty wooden box buried behind a rotting dresser, inside a folded parchment titled "The Mirror Room." The rules were written like a dare. One by one, enter the mirror room. Speak your truth aloud. The house will listen. The house will keep your lies. Sophia's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Let's play," she whispered, her voice a little too eager. She leaned in close to me and teased, "Unless someone's afraid to tell the truth." I smiled coldly. I wasn't afraid. I wanted this. The mirror room was upstairs, suffocatingly cold, filled with dust and the smell of mildew. The tall, cracked mirror stretched nearly to the ceiling. We lit a single candle, its flame flickering as if struggling to breathe. One by one, we stepped inside. Ryan went first. When he came back, his face was pale, but he brushed it off with a laugh. Sophia followed, she stayed longer. When she returned, her eyes flickered away from mine. Daniel was next, his shoulders stiff, his mouth pressed tight. I was last. Alone in the room, I whispered into the mirror, "I know about Daniel and Sophia." The candle hissed and blew out by itself. The air pressed against my skin like wet cloth. I felt something cold breathe down my neck. From that moment, the house changed. The mirrors across the mansion glitched and lagged, some running seconds behind reality, others showing people who weren't in the room. I saw Daniel in the kitchen, though he sat beside me. I saw Sophia's reflection holding Daniel's hand, even when she was in another room. At times, I heard my own voice echoing from behind the mirrors, whispering things I never said. And sometimes I saw a figure, tall, dark, its head tilted unnaturally, lurking just behind me in the glass. Doors opened and closed by themselves. Shadows stretched across the floors when no one was moving. Sophia claimed she heard knocking from inside the walls. Around 3 a.m., Ryan went to the basement to grab more wine and never came back. Sophia went to find him. I stayed with Daniel, my anger boiling to the surface. I confronted him, and his silence betrayed him. His trembling hands gave him away. He admitted it. He'd been seeing Sophia for months. I wanted to slap him. I wanted to hurt him. Instead, I kissed him. Hard. Desperate. He pinned me to the wall, our bodies tangled in a dangerous, angry heat. His hand slid beneath my shirt, mine tangled in his hair, our breathing ragged, our lips clashing with both hate and hunger. When I opened my eyes, I caught our reflection in the window. And it wasn't me, it was Sophia. He was kissing Sophia. I shoved him away, horrified. I ran upstairs, following the twisted halls where the mirrors guided me, showing impossible things. Sophia's reflection lying with Daniel, her hands pulling me toward her in the glass. I found the attic door, now wide open. The attic mirror pulsed as if alive, its cracked surface bleeding something dark. In the reflection, I saw Sophia and Daniel, their hands pressed against the glass, whispering, "Stay with us. You look just like me." I swung a broken chair into the mirror. It didn't shatter, it bled. The house folded in on itself, the halls stretching and twisting in impossible loops. Shadows crept toward me, wrapping around my legs like cold vines. Ryan was gone. His reflection sat frozen in a hallway mirror, unmoving, trapped. Sophia's shadow drifted through the house, independent of her body, slipping in and out of the mirrors. Daniel's face pressed against the attic glass, his mouth wide open in a silent scream, his eyes pleading for something I couldn't give. The corridors twisted around me like the house was breathing. Every door I opened led to the same hallway. Every mirror showed me trapped versions of myself, bleeding, crying, begging to get out. I screamed Daniel's name, but the house answered me instead, whispering my secrets back to me through the walls. Sophia's laugh echoed from places I couldn't reach, circling me like a predator. I could see shadows moving inside the mirrors, pacing as if waiting for me to give up. The house was no longer a building, it was alive. I stumbled into a small drawing room I hadn't seen before. The fireplace burned with a cold blue flame, and in the center of the room sat a large circular mirror hanging from the ceiling like a pendulum. I saw Ryan's reflection trapped inside it, his fists pounding, his mouth open in silent screams. The mirror tilted and swung like it was watching me. Behind Ryan's reflection, that same eyeless creature was creeping toward him. I tried to shatter the glass with a brass poker, but the mirror absorbed the blow, pulsing with every strike. The house began playing games with me. It replayed memories from earlier that evening. I watched Daniel and Sophia sitting too close, whispering too softly, laughing too sweetly. Scenes I had lived through, but now they were looping in the mirrors like taunts. I chased the sounds of their voices, only to be led back to the mirror room. The mirror now pulsed like a living heart, its surface covered in moving handprints that pressed outward from the other side. I could hear Sophia's voice. "Just let go. It's easier here." A door appeared at the end of the hallway, a way out. I sprinted toward it, but the floorboards softened, gripping my shoes like mud. I tore myself free, running harder, the shadow creatures crawling out of the cracks behind me. I pushed through the door and slammed it shut, locking it with trembling hands. I found myself in a library filled with dust-covered journals. Pages fluttered on their own, spinning through the air, landing open to the same words. "You will stay." In the corner, I saw a framed photo. It was us, but in the picture, I was missing. I pushed deeper into the house's twisting belly, passing rooms filled with rotten furniture and overturned chairs. Mirrors cracked as I passed them, bleeding dark liquid that pooled at my feet. I found a grand dining hall with the remains of a half-eaten feast, decayed and covered in cobwebs, as if someone had prepared it decades ago and simply walked away. In the head seat sat a mirror, perfectly polished, showing Sophia sitting there, smiling, her reflection tapping the table, waiting for me to join her.
You have reached a checkpoint. To save your progress, click the subscribe button.
I've worked odd jobs all my life, but nothing could have prepared me for what happened that summer at the old Skyline arcade. My name is Ryan Mitchell, a 27-year-old technician with short, messy black hair, deep-set brown eyes, medium build, and pale skin. I usually wore black cargo pants, a grey t-shirt, and an old maroon hoodie with frayed sleeves. I never believed in ghost stories. I believed in loose wires, faulty circuits, and abandoned buildings that creaked because they were falling apart. But this was different. The Skyline arcade had been abandoned since the late 90s after a mysterious fire that no one could trace. When my freelance manager, Mr. Bryant, called me for a quick wiring removal before demolition, I said yes. It was supposed to be an easy job. When I arrived, I noticed something was wrong. The power had been dead for decades, yet faint flickering lights glowed inside. I met Aaron Davis, my co-worker, a skinny guy in ripped jeans and a spiked haircut, and Mark Thompson, our supervisor, a tall man with a greying beard and a permanent scowl. We split up. Aaron took the back offices, Mark headed to the service tunnels, and I stayed near the main arcade hall. The smell of burnt plastic lingered. Most of the machines were dead, but some screens still flickered faintly, as if waiting. 15 minutes in, I heard a mechanical hum from the old Dance Pulse machine. I approached it, ready to unplug, but its cable was already severed. That's when the screen changed and my name flashed in bright red text. Ryan. A robotic voice whispered, "Your turn." I called Aaron on the walkie, accusing him of messing around, but his shaky voice replied, "Ryan, something's wrong in the back rooms." Before I could answer, static swallowed the signal. Moments later, I heard a loud crash near the prize booth. Inside, the shelves were filled with dust-covered trinkets, but what terrified me was the old rotary phone sitting on the counter. It rang. Against my better judgment, I answered. Through the crackling static, I heard a child's whisper, "You're not supposed to be here." The line went dead. As I sprinted back toward Aaron, the lights flickered violently. I passed claw machines where I saw something chilling. A small toy figure inside, wearing a maroon hoodie and black cargo pants. It was me. I finally reached Aaron near the maintenance hallway. His eyes were wide with panic. "There's something crawling inside the walls," he gasped. As he spoke, a metal panel behind him bulged outward, like something was pressing from inside. We ran as a deafening screech of twisting metal echoed behind us. The path back was blocked by a sudden collapse of broken machines, forcing us deeper into the building. We stumbled into the underground level, a storage area filled with lifeless arcade cabinets stacked like coffins. We squeezed between the towers of machines as something scraped and skittered in the dark behind us. As we reached the back, the screens of the surrounding games flickered on all at once, showing blurry security footage from years ago. We watched grainy tapes of children playing games, winning prizes, until each tape ended the same way, a shadowed figure appearing behind them, the screens cutting to static. One monitor, though, showed live footage. It was us standing in that very room, except in the footage, something was creeping up behind us. We turned. Nothing was there, but the sound of distant footsteps and dragging metal told us we weren't alone. Desperate, we rushed into the next corridor, which led to a forgotten basement lounge. The walls were lined with CRT televisions, each screen displaying different camera angles of the arcade, but the recordings were decades old. We saw children playing, eating snacks and dancing until each tape ended with the same scene, the power cutting out, followed by a dark figure standing just inches behind the children. Aaron found an old VHS player still connected, its cassette tape jammed inside. When he pressed play, the screen glitched and showed Mark walking alone in the tunnels, but in the reflection behind him, something was moving. A tall, stuttering figure stitched together from arcade machine parts, dragging broken joystick limbs and flashing screen panels. The tape ended abruptly and the lights overhead burst into static. That's when we heard the announcement system. "New players detected. Please proceed to your station." The Dance Pulse machine lit up again, now displaying both our names, Ryan, Aaron. "Your turn." The floor beneath us pulsed as a mechanical voice echoed, "Begin or forfeit." We were shoved onto the dance pads. Music erupted, not music, but distorted laughter, static, and an off-key child's humming. Aaron panicked and jumped off. The screen shrieked, "Player 1 left, Penalty activated. From the shadows, a jerky patchwork figure made of arcade machine parts dragged itself toward him. It cornered Aaron near the photo booth. The curtains slammed shut. Silence. I yanked the curtain open. He was gone. Only a freshly printed photo strip remained, showing 4 frames. Aaron becoming progressively more terrified until the final frame was blank. A voice whispered from the booth, "Player 2, continue."
You have reached a checkpoint. To save your progress, click the subscribe button.
I was 15 when my mom and I moved into the house on Fairbanks Street. It was small, quiet, nothing special. A 2-story white house with peeling paint and a rickety backyard fence. The house didn't matter to me. What caught my attention was the giant mulberry tree in the backyard. Its branches sprawled wide, its roots bulged out of the earth like veins. It was beautiful and strange. My name is Hannah Lee, and that backyard became my obsession. I didn't know it then, but something was waiting for me beneath that tree. The first week we moved in, I started noticing things. Every night, I'd hear scraping sounds from the yard, like something was clawing at the dirt. My mom said it was probably a raccoon, but when I checked in the mornings, I'd find deep, symmetrical scratch marks circling the tree's trunk, perfectly spaced, perfectly deliberate. I started digging around the tree. I don't know why. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the way the ground felt soft there. My mom didn't mind. She was always working the late shift at the diner. She thought the digging was just a phase. One evening, as the sky turned orange, I hit something solid. My shovel clanged against a metal hatch, bolted shut and sunken deep into the earth. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I glanced out the window, I thought I saw something standing by the mulberry tree. By morning, the hatch was open. I climbed down and found tunnels lined with decaying wooden walls. The air was damp, earthy, cold. The shelves were filled with glass jars, hundreds of them holding strange floating things, animal hearts, pale hands, wide open eyes. I heard a woman's voice singing a lullaby and followed it to a wooden chair. A woman sat there, her face stitched together from mismatched skin, her smile stretched too wide. "You found me," she whispered. I packed a rope, flashlight, pocket knife, anything I thought might protect me, and returned to the hatch. The descent felt longer this time, like the earth had grown around the tunnel. The air was icy and smelled of old metal and rot. As I stepped deeper into the underground, I noticed the walls pulsing faintly, like veins beneath skin. Rows of jars lined the tunnel, each filled with twitching shadows, some with eyes that blinked when I passed, some filled with teeth that chattered silently. I kept going, stomach twisting with dread. When I reached the main chamber, there she was, seated beneath a crooked tree growing without roots, calmly sewing a doll. But not just any doll. It had my clothes, my hair, my birthmark. It was me. You were supposed to stay, she whispered, not looking up. Then the walls moved. Mirrors folded around me, sealing me in. I looked into them, and something was wrong. My reflection wasn't following my movements anymore. Instead, she stood there, smiling, blinking slowly, reaching out. I tried to smash the glass, but the mirrors wouldn't shatter. They rippled like water. I turned to run, but her hand, cold, stitched, too strong, grabbed my ankle. I slashed at it with the knife. Her palm unraveled into black threads that writhed and recoiled. I scrambled up the rope and sealed the hatch behind me, gasping in daylight. But the next morning, a doll was outside my window, sitting upright, grinning. It looked just like me. I burned it, buried it, cut it to shreds. But every morning it returned, closer to lifelike. And then it began to move when I didn't, to smile when I wasn't, to mirror me imperfectly. My mother noticed something was wrong. She said we needed to leave. I agreed, desperately. But the next morning, she was gone. No signs of struggle, no messages. Her car was still parked out front. On her neatly made bed, I found a note written in a trembling hand. You can stay now. I knew what it meant, knew who it was from. I packed again, knife, rope, flashlight, and left a note of my own. If I don't come back, don't look for me. But I already knew there was no one left to read it. I couldn't use the hatch. It was sealed shut. Instead, I found another way, an old stone well, overgrown and sunken into the ground like a forgotten wound. I climbed down, squeezing through roots and darkness until I re-entered the tunnels. This time, the jars screamed, the walls bled, and in the heart of the underground, she was waiting. The stitched face woman now flickered between familiar faces. My teacher, my best friend, even my mom, trying to weaken me. You gave up your place, she said, her voice 100 voices layered together. In the center of the room, the doll, my replacement, sat on a throne of bone. I didn't hesitate. I tore it apart with my bare hands, unraveling its spell stitch by stitch. The room screamed. The tunnels buckled and collapsed. I ran through chaos and pain, dragging myself back to the surface, half dead, breathless. And for one moment, I thought it had worked. My mother returned to herself, confused but alive, whole. But before the spell faded entirely, I saw her, my double, one last time. She smiled from the mirror, then stepped into it, and was gone. But I've never felt whole since. Something inside me feels distant, detached, like I'm wearing myself instead of being myself. I haven't stepped back into the house. I can't. I stay outside, watching. She lives there now, my double, laughing with my mom, eating breakfast, walking the path to school like nothing ever happened. But I know what to look for now. Her smile lingers just a second too long. Her reflection doesn't always follow. Sometimes, her eyes stay fixed on the mirror even when she turns away. And at night, I hear her through the window, singing lullabies in a voice stitched together from something other. The scratching beneath the mulberry tree has started again. One night, I saw something else crawl out of the ground, tall, jagged-limbed, moving like a puppet on tangled strings. My double greeted it, let it in, and now my mom is fading again. She doesn't see it, but I do. Her color's draining, her eyes are emptying. I fear the truth that I left something important behind, or maybe that I never truly escaped, that she took my place, not just in the house, but in the world. And now, when I pass a mirror, sometimes I see her, not moving, just smiling, still waiting, because not all of me came back.